What's cooking good looking? Today is all about Cult of the Lamb, a game by Massive Monster where you're actually playing like a small monster. You're playing a cute little fluffy sheep, a lamb, that was about to be sacrificed by evil powers. And then there's this god, this otherworldly being that's like, nope, takes you out and says, if you help me, I'll help you. Do we have a deal? Of course you accept because you don't want to die, and therefore you now raise a loyal cult for this being, for the one who waits. So there's two elements to this game. There's a roguelike element and there's a base building, base simulation kind of element where you take care of your loyal followers and you build them little huts and you make them take care of your flower beds. You also hold satanic rituals where wriggly tentacles rip apart your followers. You can marry them and then sacrifice them. That gives you more bonuses. Stuff like that. Also, there's a shit ton of poop everywhere. Pun intended. The life of a cult leader is not exactly glamorous. If you're not taking care of your followers, you are in the wilderness and you kill some frogs and some skeletons, spiders, the usual stuff, and you get resources and you progress and you kill the evil bishops. But more on that in a minute. For now, as I said, you play a lamb in this game. A little creature that takes care of a flock of followers like a shepherd. So it shouldn't come as a surprise that today's dish is going to be shepherd's pie. These are the ingredients you'll need for today's dish. Potatoes, cheddar, bell peppers, ground meat, lamb if it's supposed to be a real shepherd's pie, ground paprika or chili powder, broth, nutmeg, peas, and butter. Check out the recipe in the description down below for the exact amounts. Shepherd's pie supposedly originated in Great Britain. Today's game was thought up by a small studio on the other side of the globe in Australia. And the adventure of the bloodthirsty little lamb turned out to be quite the success. More than 1 million units have been sold at the time of this video's release, and rightfully so. Cult of the Lamb combines two pretty addictive game types: roguelike and base building. And let's not forget the lovely contrast of cute, cartoony 2D graphics and the rather gruesome gameplay. On the roguelike side of things, you fight against the 4 bishops of the old faith, like the spider priest Shamora, who makes you fight and kill one of your own followers the first time you step into her domain. I didn't know that. Each time you enter one of these 4 zones, the map gets randomized and you have to find your way to the boss anew. Along the way, wait temporary combat upgrades and a tarot reading bird whose cards add bonuses to the run. Fighting itself is one of the best aspects of the game. Crushing caterpillars and beheading zealots is responsive and really satisfying. Some rooms did make me feel a little claustrophobic though, especially when faced with a lot of bullet hell unleashing enemies. My favorite weapon of all runs turned out to be a poisonous great axe that was slow as sin, but one-hit KO'd almost everything it touched. Well, apart from the bosses. That would have been a bit boring. So, various weapons, various spells, various enemy types, run-enhancing tarot cards, a randomized map, rooms that might grant you additional followers, rooms full of resources, and finally big bad boss fights. And once you kill a bishop, you can even enter something like an endless mode of that specific domain. I know, this is a lot to wrap your head around, so how about we take a little break before talking about the base building and start cooking. Let's start with the paprikas, or bell peppers. Little dents, optional. We're going to first cut those into quarters and then you can peel them. Also optional. Don't have to do it, but for some people it's easier to digest. Next, take them and cut them into slices and then into chunks. Size is pretty much debatable, but I like pieces that I can easily chew. They're not too big. Next, potatoes. Peel them and then chop them into cubes. Again, size doesn't really matter because we're going to mash them anyway. Add them to a pot, fill it with water so all potatoes are covered, add some salt, and then bring it to a boil. Lid on top and let them boil for about 10 minutes till they're tender. Next, the lamb goes into the pan. Roast it till it browns, then add the bell pepper cubes. Stir. Salt. Some pepper, chili flakes or paprika powder, Stir again till it's nicely mixed, and then roast it a bit. Next, the peas. I'm using frozen ones. Maybe be a bit more careful than I was. Add them to a pot, then add water, salt a bit, bring it to a boil, add a lid, and let it simmer for about 10 minutes. Deglaze the meat with some broth, add the lid and let it reduce. Drain the peas and add a bit of butter. Stir it in so everything is nicely coated. Drain the potatoes, so they're still steamy. Add the rest of the butter, stir it in so it melts in. Spice with some nutmeg, very important, salt and pepper. And then get the crusher ready. Mush it into a very, very fine puree, although I guess that's up to you. Don't forget to preheat your oven to 250 degrees Celsius on the top heat or grill setting. Now the fun part starts. First, layer the meat sauce into a baking dish. Distribute it evenly, add the peas on top, and then the mashed potatoes. This is the most effective way I have found, but feel free to try something else. Then place the cheese slices so everything is nice and covered. Bake till the cheddar is golden brown and bubbly. And you're done! I know it's tempting to dig right into this golden cheese crust, but first I really need to tell you about the other side of Cult of the Lamb. As mentioned earlier, you are a cult leader, and it's your job to make your cult the best it can be. Although I guess it could be debatable what makes a cult a quote-unquote good one. The concept is simple enough. You make sure your followers are well fed and believe in the cause, and in turn you work them to their bones and maybe even sacrifice one or two. Massive Monster had the really good idea to implement a Twitch integration that allows viewers to donate channel points, adjust the difficulty, and even customize the streamer's followers. Great idea, if it would have worked at launch. My guess is that they just didn't anticipate the demand. And this wasn't the only wonky thing. I, for example, experienced multiple bugs where quests apply to the wrong cult members. Not so bad when it's about making lunch for everybody. Quite disastrous if the quest giver wants to be killed. Keeping track of all the different upgrade systems can also get quite intense. Commandments that change your followers' behavior, crown abilities that improve your combat capabilities, or a slew of unlockable buildings. Let's just say you, the cult leader, could really use a break every now and then. Instead, you feed your followers, send them to bed when sick, give them gifts, and overall act like a good mom or dad. Thankfully, the amazing soundtrack, quirky dialogues, and fun animations make even the most stressful in-game day enjoyable. Let me tell you, being a cult leader sucks. It's a lot of hard work. People still hate you at times. Like I had this unicorn that suddenly hated me and I had to put him in prison so he stopped making other people hate me. It was a wild ride. In general, there's very little breathing space in this game. It's non-stop action. Not necessarily in the way of gameplay, which is a bit sad in my opinion. There could be a bigger focus on the roguelike. I hope maybe there will be an optional mode in the future, like an update that allows you to automate the base aspect of the game more so you can focus a bit more on the roguelike aspect. Because during the hours that I played this game, I ended up with like maybe a 70-30 split, 70% base, 30% actually roguelike runs. And I would have liked to change that, but it felt almost impossible. Of course, I could have also killed a couple villagers or followers, however you want to call them. Then I would have had less mouths to feed, less stress, but I was kind of a benevolent overlord. I didn't want to kill anyone. I tried to be nice. So I guess I'm just a really, really bad cult leader. However, I still had a blast, even though it was a weird balance at times. I had a blast. I'm sure you will too have an awesome time with this game if you decide to give it a shot. And if you won't enjoy it, I will sacrifice you in a satanic ritual for the one who waits. That's it for today. I hope you will enjoy today's dish as much as I do, because shepherd's pie is probably my all-time favorite food, and I really hope that you'll love it as much as I do. The recipe is, as always, down there in the description. And if you decide to give it a shot, please send me a picture, tag me on one, or write me a comment, because I always love to hear about your experience. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Maybe even ring the bell. It really helps me out a ton. Hope your day's as good as gold. See you next time.